5 years of misery, Marissa Irwin has finally discovered that her mysterious pain and paralysis is being caused by intense pressure on her brain. Wheelchair-bound and in agony, her only hope is a rare and dangerous surgery.
Marissa was nervous, but she was not losing her smile. All the people in the room were very touched by her.
My whole body was shaking. And my doctor, Bolognese, and Dr. Miller came to me and said, it's okay, it's all right.
It is actually a pretty rare surgery for neurosurgeons. The operation is pretty dramatic.
First, the doctors would have to reposition Marissa's skull, so her odontoid bone was no longer pressing on her brainstem. They would then have to fuse the vertebrae and lock the spine in place using specially designed surgical screws. One wrong move, and Marissa might be paralyzed for life.
We try to reproduce down to the millimeter, the only position in which the patient feels comfortable, because we want to freeze that for the rest of their life. The main part of the operation has some components which are nerve-wracking. You know that with the trajectory of some of the screws, you can pretty much end the operation there, and that is very stressful.
Originally, I was told that the surgery lasts about 5 hours. So I just innocently thought that at 5 hours and 15 minutes, he would be out to talk to me.
So when the 6th hour came by, my mother was really starting to get upset.
I was just beside myself.
But there was good reason for the delay. When the doctors opened up Marissa's skull, they discovered that not only was her odontoid pressing into her brain was being squeezed down into her spine. She did have a Chiari 1 malformation after all. Now they would have to perform 2 operations.
We decompressed the Chiari 1 malformation with a minimalistic approach to the problem. And we corrected the compression between the brainstem and the odontoid by extracting the head out. 2 surgeries in 1 package. We were satisfied. And with that kind of feeling, we went out to talk to Marissa's mom.
Dr. Bolognese came out and said that everything went good and that he was, very pleased with the results. Her sister and I just cried and laughed. Then we ran downstairs and made phone calls.
When I first woke up out of the surgery, I remember being in a lot of pain.
The operation was entailing a lot of dissection, which is medical lingo for we cut you open and we cut you deep. She was in pain for quite some time.
When they told me I could go home, I was really relieved. And they took out the staples and the stitches, and I started crying because, he basically saved my life.
The dangers of surgery were behind her, but now Marissa had to face the struggle of a long recovery.
When Marissa was still recovering, one time she made the remark to me that she was so ugly now, from being cut and from the surgery.
I didn't look in the mirror very much because I felt kind of like Frankenstein.
Once her hair grew back, Gail convinced Marissa to take some professional photos to remind her that she was beautiful and to boost her self-confidence.
She went and had the pictures taken, and I got a phone call from a lady that said, these pictures are really good, and I really think she could have a career here. And so since that time, she's been signed by a modeling agency in New York City. Now being involved with modeling, she has a real spark to her eye, which she had lost there for a number of years.
Without her mother's determination to find an answer, Marissa could have spent her entire life in a wheelchair and in constant pain.
In the case of Marissa, the MRI was not enough positive enough, not enough strong enough to declare the diagnosis from the start.
Most people, when their brain herniates, it herniates in the middle. In Marissa's case, it went out to the side, and so that's why we had such a hard time finding a diagnosis. Even though a Chiari malformation is thought to be rare, this was even more rare because she didn't do it by the textbook.
It was a very long journey. 5 years is a long time, especially when your daughter is deteriorating in front of your eyes. And in the case of Marissa's mom, she was a fighter, and she didn't pull any punches in the process.
Many times people with a lot more book knowledge told me that I was wrong, and it would have been easy to have stopped and thought that you'd done everything possible.